Okay, so I'm installing a new floor through the building, and I'm tearing up the old floor. Now, part of the old floor was torn up and just destroyed because it was so damaged from the flood. Abby's coming to help, as you can tell, she's a big help. But this side of the floor wasn't damaged as bad, so I'm going to repurpose this. Not as flooring, but as wall covering. So anybody who's done renovations in the house while you're living in it, I'm sure you feel my pain. This is an absolute pain in the butt. But I've done this quite a bit in the past where we've torn up flooring and repurposed it. Now normally I would just tear this all up and put this all down, and this would go in a dumpster, or I store it somewhere else. Right now I just don't have that ability. So I'm tearing up 30 or 40 pieces, cutting the staples out the back, planing it, putting it on the wall, and then putting down 30 or 40 or 50 pieces of this or whatever I'm doing, and then doing it over again, which is time consuming, but it, and it's not the contractor way of doing things. I contracted myself, and they'd had to pay me a lot of money to do it this way for somebody else, but this is what I need to do. So what I'm doing, this is a piece of this flooring, and as you tear it up, I'm cutting these are stapled down. I'm cutting the staples off the back. I'm running them through the planer, and I'm removing the gray coloring. Now this here, that's the color of this wood. I mean, it's been polyurethane or whatever they put on it at the factory. I guess it's polyurethane. But this is maple and was colored. And from the flood and age, it's wearing. And I'm not putting anything else down that's colored because it's a pain in the butt. So I'm taking up and I'm planing it. And that is going right now on the closet wall. This is the old flooring that's been run through the planer. They don't say what kind of maple. They say Canadian maple, which is a misnomer. Maybe it's a Canadian maple tree, but it's maple. So it's soft maple. So it's not rock maple. It's a very soft maple wood. It dents very easily. So exactly which maple species they got it from, I don't know. But it's one of the softer ones. So that flooring is going to come through, tie in with the bathroom floor, and come one unit right in the bedroom and in the closets. So this gray flooring has to get the hell out of the way so I can continue on, because the addition in the bedroom, the closets and all that had no flooring in them. This is part of the old structure we salvaged from the flood. And the same is true going into the kitchen. It's going to come through, and the hardwood floor is going to go straight into the kitchen and right on out in one piece. But of course this gray flooring is blocking it. So what I'll show you here now real quick is my process of reclaiming it, because out there that had no flooring on it, and the flooring that was on this side, because that's an addition out there just past that wall, and the flooring up to about the coffee table was damaged. I just tore it up and I boom, bang, put in that floor very quickly. But from here on in, until I get rid of this old maple, this is beechwood, until I get rid of this old maple, it's slowing me down considerably. So anyway, I used to do some restoration, and I had a company years ago, and we did restoration of old buildings and projects for the government and what have you. Sometimes they wanted the one board ripped up, another one put back. Now, the old guys who built it, I told you just to burn it, but anyway, they wanted pretty much the nail back in the same hole. So when you tore things up, you had to save the boards. They wanted them saved. And what I learned over the years, if you want to rip up hardwood flooring and not beat it up too much, you have to rip it up from the nail side, which is through the tongue. Okay, so here's the tongue. The nail drives down through there, or the staple or the nail, and comes out the bottom, in this case here. If you try and rip it up the other way, you break the tongue off every time. So, now, I mean, you can still break boards, but what you need to do is start, and as you're prying it up, once you get it going, it will pull up and away from the other tongue. And you pull it out at an angle, and that will pull this tongue groove. Pull the tongue out of that groove. And you see there's the staples. So as you pry it up, this side is not mechanically fastened. It's fastened with the tongue in the groove, and the other side is mechanically fastened. Now, if they're glued, you're screwed. You got to solder them up for heat them up or whatever. So you can continue on like that. Okay, I have to move forward here a bit to show you. So here onto this one here probably. I have to move dog cages here soon. But okay, there's two ends of those there. And I'll just do a couple of rows to show you here quickly. I'm sure a lot of guys have seen this already, but you under the groove. Now sometimes the pry bar is handy, but this is spruce flooring and it's pulling up at it quite easy, quite well. I know it's spruce because I put it in there. Pull it up like that. Okay. Now this little cut off at the end is, you know, gonna end up the wood stove. And then you start over. Okay, pull up gently. It'll pull it up and away from the tongue. Now click flooring breaks, and if it's glued it breaks, and this is for 3/4 inch or 5/8 or 1 inch or whatever you're working with. Nothing wood flooring, that's been mechanically fastened. Okay. Up and away, out you go. And now, I mean, sometimes, depending on what it's nailed into, I mean, this could be a real struggle. And if they use nails instead of staples, it's harder to pull up. And sometimes the staples pull through the flooring and stay in the floor. And you got to cut them out the floor instead of here. So, more often than not, I've had it pull up very nicely this way. Now, this is underneath the camera, but you'll see here in a second. Same idea. Up. Oops, sorry about that. And then it'll go up and away. And I got a Dax that's convalescing in there, so I'm trying not to move him. He's got a hurt. He hurt his shoulder. I think he jumped off of something or something. I don't know. He's hurt himself before, but he's getting better, but I'm trying not to move him too much. So now, okay, move the camera around. So now I got these boards up. What I'll do is I'll show you how I'm finishing them for the wall. So now because these were, now this is not normally the case, but because this was flooded with river water, you can see there's a fair amount of sand underneath the boards. That's not normally there. That's from the river. And in the grooves here, I got a fair amount of sand. You can see that. Okay. Now, sometimes you got to deal with that in the house just because, but it's particularly bad here because of the river. So, I'm going to run this through a planer, and the planer doesn't care a lot about this sand because of where it is, but I go through enough planer blades as it is, so I'm just going to scrape that out. Comes out very quickly. You might have to do this, you might not, depending on where the floor was installed, if it had outdoor footwear traffic, if it got flooded. More often than not, I have not had to do this. This is just an extra step of it. So, and my wife is a waste not, well, so am I, kind of a person. So sometimes I'll just go with that and move on quickly. And she's like, no. So, any of you guys out there got a wife know that they can be quite bossy, and sometimes it's easier to go along than fight it. But in this case, she's right. So, and of course, because we had so much damage from the flood, we really need to save these boards because it's been costing us a fortune to rebuild everything. And nobody gave us a cent of insurance because apparently we were insured against the toilet overflowing, but not the river flooding. So now what I'm going to do is cut these off. Now I can't plane this side because to pull these out is just about impossible unless I take a skill saw and cut off this part of the board, but I want the tongue and groove. So I'm going to take an angle grinder. I'll show you that here now in a second, and I cut this off in close. And so it can run on the bottom part of the planer slide, and the blades can hit this side. Now the nail is 1/4 inch down on each one of these boards. So unless you're taking a hell of a cut off, you shouldn't hit it with your planer. But I can't guarantee that. It depends on how the nail was driven. But you shouldn't. So I can run it through this way, plane off this gray, And well, I already showed you what it looked like, but I'll show you what it looks like here in a second when I plane it. And I'll end up with basically this color, only uniform, because in a lot of these boards, this gray is patchy, it's worn off, and dog scratches, and you know, we have Roddies and Dachshunds, and they were hard on this gray. We don't care if they scratch the floor, really. I mean, that's just part of having dogs, but it was particularly bad on this colored board, which is not that old. The flood destroyed it. You know, it's only 3 or 4 years old. So here, now I'll take you out and show you the pin process and the planing process, and then how I install it. But I mean, all in all, this is not a very difficult process. Okay, so now we're outside, and I'm probably going to do this. I'll probably speed this up for you in the final production, but I'll show you one here at normal speed. And I'm in a spot where these nails are actually strong enough to puncture something, you know. They're little staples. And I got my Milwaukee cordless here. So what I'm going to do is go in real close, okay, almost burning the wood, so that this side sits flat in the planer. Okay. Now those staples are in a spot where they shouldn't hit anything. It's going to be buried next year. And there, now you can see that that side is flat enough that it won't grab anything on its way through the planer. So the rest of these I'll speed up. Too long. So now that I've got all the staples cut off, and you'll have to excuse my rickety planer setup. My workshop here used to be way to hell over there, and it got half destroyed in the flood. It's up here temporarily, and everything is just a shambles. So basically, I've got this set up so that it just takes off the gray, and you know, some of them are a little cupped or whatever. So I would have had it set a little shallower had everything been perfectly flat. So it's taking off a little bit of a cut, but it's as shallow as one as I can get, where all the pieces are, it's removing all the gray on all the pieces and making them all uniform. It's been brought up in the past that I don't have the safety on here to cover, and you're right, I don't, because this damn thing plugs up constantly when I do, so I took it off, and I don't even know where it is. I don't care. So anyway, here's what it looks like after I played it. Now, there's a little groove in this because I got a little nick in, so I move it over, I get rid of that, but that's not that important to me for what I'm doing, so that'll be fine. So the rest of these I'll speed up for you. Tell you that looks a little painful, and it is. And whatever it is with this hardwood flooring, it's very slippery, and the rubbers in there that grab it and pull it through just don't pull this through very well, like pine and spruce. That it does a great job on, and it does a great job on hardwood. But this hardwood flooring, and I tried my buddy's DeWalt, and it's actually worse on that than this. Like, I don't know if it's because it's more worn out than my planer, which I would find hard to believe, but anyway, you kind of have to push and pull it through. Get some nice green in it. So anyway, there, I've got it all the gray off. Okay, so now I'll show you what we're doing with it on the other end. Okay, now, I don't know if this is capturing this or not. It says card speed slow. I'll have to check. I might have to do this again. So, now, this is a 2-inch wall, okay? Wifey's closet's on the other side, and this is my side. You can see here we've got some laminate flooring I reclaimed against the wall that nobody can really see. And this lower part here, that's the maple flooring. Now, as per what I've done is I've saved the tongue and groove, okay, and down there's a couple of them have been sawed, the way they were put on the floor. And so this one here still got the tongue and the groove. So the groove side on this one happens to go over against the wall. And like any hardwood flooring, get your rubber mallet out. A little bit uneven there. I don't know what I did there. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. Something. This one here must have cut a little shallower for some reason. But anyway, the rest have been very uniform. Let's just see what happens with the next one. An anomaly. Okay, anyway, we'll go with it. So, like any hardwood flooring, we use hardwood floor nailer. Now, starting off and on the edges, I pre-drill. Oops. It's a little bit harder to hit the stud. Now, the nail actually doesn't come out of the center of this gun, so you got to put it offset a little bit. Maybe they're all like that. I never really took notice. And so, again, you can do the same thing over. And because they're tongue and groove, you don't have to worry about lining them up on the stud, right? So, now I've got another wall to do in the bathroom, in the utility room, and this is in a closet. And actually, I put this up. I'm really happy with it. And the boss lady is really happy with it. So, if she's happy and I'm happy, everybody's happy, I guess we're good. Now, down we go. And so, you gotta offset this a little bit there. Drives home center. Now, the gun is a little bit awkward because this plate I got on mine is designed for the groove with when it's done at a full 3/4 inch. But because I planed it, it sticks out a little bit, but it still drives a nail proper. So any guys that didn't know about that would have that question. It's not a problem. So as long as it overlaps, it's good enough for me. And I can just almost pinch myself there. Perfect. And I will put one in the next one, And now over here, what I've had to do is I'll put another one here like that. What I've had to do is put your nail in the stud, but the gun won't go right in against the wall. So it won't go right in against the wall. You can't reach it. Now, normally I have one of these that has one of these incorporated. And I do have it, but if you think I can find that today. So anyway, what I've got is a 3-piece system. So driving nails in with a nail gun is just a real bad idea. So I'm drilling a pilot hole. Okay, thumb saw. And then I take my not a pilot hole. The hell they call it? It'll come to me in a second. And there you go, for the head of the screw. Because otherwise, you're just going to split it. Like this maple, if you drive a nail or drive a screw without the pilot hole, you're just going to split it. Now these are way longer than they need to be. And for all our American friends watching, you'll notice I'm not using Phillips. Just hate them. They don't stay on. You know, they're harder to use. Anyway, the torque. Well, I'm not a big fan of Torx either, but the Robinson works real well. So anyway, that's that. So that's how I'm doing that. Reclaiming the floor, and all in all, I mean, this is a very small space. Okay, so it's like I say, it's going in the utility room, but I mean, what do you think? I'm probably just going to shellac it. I don't think I'm going to paint it or anything. It's too pretty to cover up. So, and I mean, most of it's going to be covered with shelving and this and that and blah blah blah. It's a closet. So, like I say, this here was engineered laminated flooring that went in the bathroom, waterproof. It's supposed to be waterproof, we'll see. But anyway, and of course we're getting ready now to run that flooring into the bedroom. Get all this junk out of the bedroom into closets and put the flooring all the way in through. Construction while you're living in the house is an absolute pain in the ass. But it is what it is. So, I actually hate that saying. I'm catching myself saying it all the time these days. So there you go. So now, like, you know, on the edges, same as anything else, you're just going to take the proper edge, measure the length, install, measure the length, install, just like you would anywhere else. I mean, I don't think I need to show you guys. My purpose of this video is to show you that, you know, that old crappy flooring, you know, water, destroyed gray water flooring can actually be repurposed into something quite nice, you know. So all this here is going to go on walls and in places like that. There's quite a few square feet of it still. There's probably 250 square feet of it. And it'll go in here. So when I get this wall up and get this flooring out, I'll be able to continue with the flooring all out over the gray into the bedroom. Then I can put on all my casings and finish it all up, because, you know, the casings are going to come down to meet up with the new floor. So that's why a lot of this trim and all this is just temporary. I mean, this is the door box, but now of course this wall is this thick because this used to be the exterior wall at the front of the house, and that's all changed because of the flood. So if you're wondering why this wall is so damn thick on an interior wall, that's why. So anyway, that's that. That's how I'm going to reclaim Daisy. Dogs are helping out. And to all you guys out there that are renovating and moving furniture every 15 minutes because you're renovating the house while you're living in it, I feel your pain. You got blankets and trying to cover everything and trying to keep the dust down. Dogs locked in cages, upset with you, whining in the background. So, but I hope you guys find that helpful. That's what I'm going to be doing with the flooring, and it's impeding my progress on the floor, but it's being offset with the money I'm saving. And, you know, at the same time the floor is going slow, this wall, the wall in there, and in the bathroom here, which is not entirely finished, this back wall, the utility wall, is going to be done the same way, which is actually going to be nicer than, you know, some of the other walls I've put in here. It's all built on my sawmill, everything in here. So anyway, if you're so inclined, please like and subscribe. And if you made it this far, thank you very much. And I hope you guys find this helpful and informative. Cheers.